them standing pat, re-signing Draymond Green, and just running right into the wall with the tax bill feels like the least likely of all the scenarios. Right. Given the moves they've made this offseason.
Well, given the moves they made, and given some of the things Draymond Green has said about Chris Paul in the past. Now, this was a couple years ago on the podcast, All the Smoke podcast with Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson. And Draymond Green, as you are listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco, always live on the free Odyssey app. Draymond Green had this to say about Chris Paul a couple of years ago.
I don't like CP at all. Like, we don't have a good relationship at all, but I respect his hustle and I respect his IQ. He's smart as hell. And
smart.
And CP was kind of using, like, CP saw Steph coming up. And, you know, once you start to get older in this league, you start to realize, like, okay, this guy is coming. Eventually, he may catch me because I'm going to start to decline at some point. And so I would kind of see CP kind of keeping Steph at bay, but yet giving him a stiff arm at the same time. Now, Steph, Steph ain't, Steph is Steph. Like, we all love Steph, right? He ain't cut like, he ain't got the street part to him. And so
he ain't confrontational at all. He ain't confrontational.
Exactly. And so with me coming from where I come from and the way I grew up, I'm kind of watching like, yo, he kind of rock with you, Steph, but he kind of don't. He kind of keeping you at bay. And so I took it up on myself to try to create division there.
That was Draymond Green back on April 23rd, 2020. I don't like CP3. Now, that was 3 years ago.
I don't like CP at all. Like,
I don't like him at all. But that was 3 years ago. That is a very interesting dynamic.
Does Draymond strike you as someone who has a change of heart often?
I mean, him and LeBron are best friends.
Yeah, well, there's
some trash
a lot of
talk
money attached to that relationship.
You know, and so there's some potential money attached to this one as well.
Yeah, that's true.
You know?
I think they could get along. Maybe I'm naive. I think they can all get along, especially if – but here's the part that I don't want to underrate. Chris Paul's always been about getting his money. Right. And in an expiring, contract year – I do think you're playing with a little bit of fire when it comes to him because, relegating him to a certain role that maybe he's unhappy with because it devalues him as he tries to get another payout. Mm-hmm. I don't know how he's going to react to that. We've just never seen him do it. Now, I believe that they're all professional and they can all get along, but maybe I'm being naive to the relationship and I'm underrating the disdain the two of them have for each other.
Well, here's the deal. What I've heard over the weekend is that Steph Curry so far is very pleased with the moves. That's what I heard from a good source.
Okay.
Steph Curry so far is very happy with the moves that the Warriors have made, which is good. You want to make sure your franchise player is happy.
Is that exclusive Bonte Hill reporting?
Yeah, I guess.
I love it. No, I love it.
It's not official reporting. Just say it. Steph so far is happy, but
on or off the record. Now that's kind of where I was going with this.
Kind of off the record, but it was told to. It wouldn't say, "Hey, keep it off the record." But I think it's obvious that Steph Curry's been on board with these moves so far.
Yeah, he's head nodding
and hearing from a source like, "Hey, Steph's very pleased with the move so far." So that's a good thing. What happens next, though?
A good reporter like me would be like, "Very." He said, "Very." I'm teasing.
Very. I don't want to get
caught. I don't want to get caught in the minutia.
I could read a verbatim. I gotta pull it up here. It's been a while. Long weekend in Tahoe. But anyway, Draymond Green. I was also thinking about this. What does it look like when Draymond and CP3 is on the floor together?
Didn't I say that to you immediately?
You did.
Like, they're both very ball-dominant, top-of-the-key type of dudes. Can CP3 play off ball? Absolutely. But you acquire a guy like that to run a specific offense and then run pick and roll and play at a certain pace. Draymond likes to play at a certain pace that's, I would say, higher than the CP3 pace. CP3 wants to walk the ball up.
Why am I making people nervous? And why am I shook? Nobody's shook. I'm just telling you guys, Steph Curry's pleased right now. You should be happy. Brian Windhorst got another one on Get Up today. He thinks the Pistons and Kings are the teams with enough to offer to pull Draymond Green from the Golden State Warriors.
If I was running the Warriors, and I was very worried about my financial bill moving forward because one deal in the NBA can kind of anchor you down and limit all your other moves. You lose the mid-level exception. You lose this. I would let Draymond test it, and I'd say, all right, what are you getting from these other teams? All right, and I would not match what Detroit or the Kings are doing. I would say, you say that you're loyal to us, and we've been very loyal to you, and you say you're loyal to Steph Curry. I would test that with Draymond, and I would see where his allegiances lie.
Well,
is he truly about winning?
Well, he could be, but he's also about getting paid.
Well,
this
that's
is
my
about
point,
his last
though. Something's got to give. You got to compromise a little.
But Sacramento, however, he can look at Sacramento saying that team's ready to win.
Absolutely, he can.
And he could go there. Now, it will be a very interesting fit.
In particular.
Detroit, yeah, you're a couple years away in Detroit.
A couple?
You're a couple years away.
Right now, they're one of the worst teams in the league.
We don't know how the Eastern Conference is going to flip.
Yeah,
Philadelphia could blow it all up. Boston could blow it all up. Who else? Miami. We don't know what they're looking like long term.
Cade could come back looking amazing.
Yeah, Detroit's got a lot of young assets, and they could make a leap. Now, in the next 3 years, that could be a long time away. We'll see.
He could be their David Lee.
Let's see.
Let's go full circle.
Go back home to Detroit. But however, how would James Wiseman like that?
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
How do you not think of that? That's the first thing I thought about with Detroit. James Wiseman? Wow.
I mean, that would be Wiseman. Oh,
sorry,
boy.
we're making Luis Roberson. Don't be so nervous about Draymond Green. This stuff happens in sports. Our heroes move on at some point. They do. Now, will Draymond Green move on at some point? I don't know. Just from a basketball sense, forget the money for a second, because I think it's fascinating that the Warriors, if they have this vision to where they say, we want to be the LA Rams in the NBA for the next 3 years. It's about Steph and maximizing his window, and then we're going to play a bunch of players on expiry contracts. That's a dangerous game, right? Clay, CP3, and another player on the expiring. But you do have trade assets here to kind of reset your books while continue to compete for an NBA championship. You really do. They're in I don't think the situation for them is dire at all. I think they have some guys here in Andrew Wiggins, GP2. We'll see what happens to Draymond Green. You have Jonathan Kuminga. You have some assets that you could flip and get serviceable players while still competing for an NBA championship. I truly believe that.
No, I agree with you. I keep going back to the Draymond thing, and it's got a lot of Iggy vibes to it when Iggy tried to squeeze the Warriors for a couple extra $1 million, and they were at different points in their career. One guy means something different than the other guy. But this whole get the bag culture that we're in, I get it when you're an undrafted guy. Let's say you're Caleb Martin right now, right? Get the bag, squeeze it for every dollar. Even Gary Payton Jr., okay, yeah, he's the son of a former NBA player. That doesn't mean he's necessarily loaded or rich or whatever. How many opportunities is he going to have to be a coveted free agent?
Right.
I get it. Squeeze every dollar. Dre's made $156 million up to this point.
Just in basketball.
Now, it's easy for me to sit here and say, take slightly less. But when you've had life-altering money for over a decade, I have a hard time feeling empathy about getting an extra $5 million, because at that point, you've made tons and tons and tons of generational difference-making money. I'm sorry. As a normal human being, we all take concessions left and right in our life. We don't get everything we want, right? $100,000 at one job isn't necessarily equivalent to $120,000 at another job if you're commuting like crazy, if you don't have parking, if the hours absolutely suck. Staying with the Warriors for slightly less has its benefits. So if he wants the full bag and he's only money motivated, I would press him on that if I was the Warriors during negotiations.
I'm sure they've done all that. And I want to continue this conversation because I don't think Draymond Green is strictly about the money. He wants to add to his legacy. He wants to put the finishing touches on his contract, on his career. And that could be a 5-time champ. He's already a 4-time champ. He wants more DPOIs. He wants to be on the All-NBA defensive first team. He's got plenty of goals. So I don't think he's just money motivated, but he is motivated to get the bag in his last opportunity to get a big bag. And if that big bag comes from someone else, would he agree to a sign-and trade? Will the Warriors be married to giving Draymond Green his full bag? Are they really married to Draymond Green? Because it's not just Draymond Green, a basketball player. It's Draymond Green, the podcaster. It's Draymond Green, the broadcaster. It's Draymond Green and some of the things that happens on the floor, get into it with refs, technical fouls, getting kicked out of games. There's everything else that comes with Draymond Green. And are the Warriors tired of that Draymond Green?
And we haven't talked about his body. He's going up against bigger guys for a decade. There's a decline factor as well that I think everybody is missing.